Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
All right, so we've got a lot to cover today.
So no rambling.
And so you couldn't ramble, I just want you to be concise.
Well, I don't even know what that word means.
No, you don't. So I'll start off with Andor. What we know about the story and how the series came to be. All right, we're getting really close now to the release of Andor. We are sub 1 month.
We should be sub 1 week.
Well, we aren't, though, so deal
Not
with it.
exactly sub. But
The series is going to, of course, depict how the Rebel Alliance was formed, and, it's going to have the 5 years leading up to Rogue One. Both Tony Gilroy and lead actor Diego Luna have said multiple times over the past couple of months that the second and final season is going to lead us directly into the events of the movie. It could possibly even be hinting that the scene we saw at the beginning of the movie with Cassian may literally be how the series ends.
I'm assuming we're going to learn who that guy was in the series. The
I'm
guy
kind
who
of
shoots in
excited.
the back, yeah.
I really want to rewatch Rogue One before this.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I've only seen Rogue One like 10 times.
That's not enough.
It's not. For me, that's like on the low end of us. Well, there are others I've seen less, but we won't name them.
All right. Well, we know the series was first announced in 2018, including the return of Diego Luna, and though the show has gone through a lot of creative shifts in the early days. I mean, Tony Gilroy wasn't even the original showrunner for this project. He came on afterwards, and he came on just as a writer.
Yeah.
And then he ended up taking over the show.
Yeah, that kind of happened with Rogue One, too, with Gareth Edwards was kind of, he's the fixer.
He's the fixer, yes. And ever since he was brought on board, as he did with Rogue One, he course-corrected the show and made everything much more of a smooth process. Casting for the series had taken place in the second and third quarters of 2020. Filming began late November, early December that year, all over the UK with multiple production units shooting at the same time at certain locations. It was a 9-month shoot and it wrapped August 2021. So it's just been on the back burner, I guess.
Well, they've been post-production. I mean, it takes a while to do post-production.
Yeah. We'll see, with all the time they had to do season 1, I worry that season 2 might feel rushed.
Especially the way they're doing it. By compressing 4 years into one season after the first season is 1 year. Like doing those 3-episode mini arcs per year, whatever they're doing.
I mean, Gilroy explained his approach to the series in Andor's production briefing, which was a 29-page document that contains a lot of details about the production. Here's one of them. When we did Rogue One, it was fascinating to work with different characters that were there, but the movie was such an ensemble piece. We only got snapshots and glimpses into the different characters' lives. I tried to make them as interesting as possible, but they were glimpses. Digging deeper into the life of Cassian Andor, you realize that this guy has this incredibly complicated and long history. He arrives in Rogue One, and he's the consummate spy master warrior. He's the one person that the whole Rebel Alliance is going to trust with this assignment. So he's the tip of the spear. How did he get to be the tip of the spear? How did he get to have all of those skills that are required for that? I like that he's asking those questions.
Sure.
Because he's not just saying, he just has those skills. How did he get those skills? Where did they come from?
He has a particular set of skills.
He's not Liam Neeson.
No, he's not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, from the very beginning, Andor was kind of described as a spy thriller that would depict the dirty side of the rebellion. For Gilroy, being given almost free range in this genre was a blessing. As he explains, the story of Andor will start very contained, focused on this one character, and will start to spread out as he starts to meet and interact with more people. He's our point of view, the main driver of the narrative. Gilroy says, the thriller genre provides a chance to dig deep into complicated behavioral problems between people and watch people make decisions that are difficult. We're going to start with one thriller by having the Cassian Andor story go all the way through this. But as he impacts other people all around him, and as other people get involved, we spread out and go wide with the story. We're carrying a lot of characters, and as they spin out, they all have their own thrillers. I'm really pleased with the fact that we could keep so much combustion and so much kinetic tension and so much adrenaline in all our subplots. And it means when they collide in the story and when they come together, it just adds this extra heat. From a storytelling point of view, it's pretty exciting.
Sounds really good to me.
It does. It sounds like what you want, character-driven.
Well, absolutely.
That we're absolutely studying the characters and how they react and how they choose to go make their decisions and go about things.
That's what I say all the time. Star Wars is about characters who have to make choices that are galaxy impacting. Even the choices we make in our daily lives, we don't notice how sometimes they impact those around us, right? Mm-hmm. That's what Star Wars kind of exemplifies, the fact that every individual can have huge impact, maybe without even realizing it.
Here comes some story details that I think might be a little bit new. When we meet Cassian in Andor, say that, Cassian in Andor.
That sounds
He'll be a
strange.
very different person from the character portrayed in Rogue One. He's now living in Ferrix. He's living in Ferrix with his adopted family, led by his adoptive mother, Marva Andor, which is the Fiona Shaw's character.
Yeah.
And in the first episode, he's at his lowest point. Gilroy explained, he's a very different person than the accomplished warrior spy we meet in Rogue One. He's sort of an adopted son of a family that saved his life, and he's growing up on this planet, Ferrix, in a really strong community. He is kind of the guy that nobody wants to see right now. He owes money to everybody. His mom's on his case all the time, and he's certainly not lived up to his potential at this point. He makes the situation infinitely worse in the opening scenes of the show. He's become a fugitive. He's had the worst day of his life when we start the show. We're going to spend 24 episodes exploring his odyssey to become the person who gives his life for the galaxy. Now that story details.
That was pretty big story details.
Yes, so we know he's living with his adopted mother on
Sounds
Ferrix.
like an unruly teenager. That's what he sounds like.
He's going to become a fugitive, most likely from the Empire.
Yes.
Having the worst day of his life. Doesn't live up to his mom's expectations, his potential.
Sounds like a teenager story, I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, I guess. At the beginning, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, he probably would be around that age, even though Diego Luna is nowhere near a teenager. No offense to him, but he's not.
Well, according to canon, Cassian is 21 at this point.
Okay.
After the trailer earlier this month, we assume that the Empire is invading Ferrix, probably forcing Cassian to get off-world, maybe start his journey as a migrant, because remember they did say this was also going to be like a migrant story. The production name for the Andor series was Pilgrim, which is no coincidence, because we know Cassian will be a traveler through foreign lands in the series until he finds a new home, probably the Rebel Alliance. Through this journey, he will encounter a lot of new characters that will be introduced in the series. Toby Haynes, who directed 6 of the 12 episodes from Season 1, explained it by saying, every character that you'll meet in Andor will have 2 sides to them. And it's about peeling away the layers of those characters and showing all sides of people, the choices they make, which side they are on, and who they affiliate with. Star Wars is an incredible galaxy with loads of interesting planets to explore, but what I really think is interesting about what Tony is doing is that he's exploring the mind and the ideas of what it is to be a rebel. Exactly.
I mean, they're saying...
Hearing good things.
At least in these interviews, they're saying all the right things. We've heard a few other things that are like, oh, please stop saying these things. And,
but the things that you were hearing came from an actor, not from what the showrunner wants to portray.
Yes, the actors have said things that are like, let's not make it necessarily a reflection of the modern world.
Let the story be the story.
Yes, we already have a rich, as they're saying, we already have this rich, diverse, complicated galaxy. Let's explore that instead of trying to make it a reflection of something else. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean it didn't begin as a reflection of this world, but let it progress in its own natural way, right?
Right.
That's how I feel about it anyway.
They say one thing that Tony Gilroy is trying to say about Cassian is that you don't necessarily need to be heroic to be useful to the Resistance. The Rebellion needs people who are ready to go the extra step and do what needs to be done. So they wanted to take the audience into much more of a moral area. You're rooting for a character, but is he doing something horrible to accomplish something good?
Yeah, I mean, that's the quandary of good, right? How far do you go before you're no longer the good guy, right? Mm-hmm. You might have the good cause, but if you're doing horrible things in the name of your good cause, are you still good?
All right. So we'll go for our last quote then from Tony Gilroy. Andor is a story about many things, but at the center of it is a story about a revolution and about everyday people making decisions in a very extreme moment in Star Wars history. We're treating it as a very serious story about the education of a leader and the building of a rebellion. Characters really have to make decisions all the way down the line. How people make decisions, how they fail to make the proper decisions, how they betray each other when they're weak, what bravery means, what altruism really means, what evil and oppression really mean. The chance to chew on all that material is why I'm here.
And doing it without Jedi and Sith.
Doing it without
the average Joe in the galaxy.
Because we know the choices that Jedi make generally have to be the good and the best type choices.
Well, they don't always do that.
They don't always do that.
Anakin, cough, cough, Anakin.
But it's interesting because you're saying normal people making these decisions. It's, you or me being put in these positions, making these decisions. Well, it's really interesting.
Yeah, but I think also what's interesting when you look at Jedi and Sith, they are just people too. They might have these cool powers or the ability to use the Force. I hate calling it cool powers, but but they are just people. I think that's the story of Anakin shows that well. Like, you start as a slave boy, you kind of get thrown into this, and he's still just a teenage guy in the second movie. He's having all these emotions. I know I'm rambling, but I'm just saying that's what I love about Star Wars, and I'm so glad to hear them talking about this because even the common folk in the galaxy can have huge impact, can have to make big decisions in the moment, as he's saying.
Right. Okay, well, let's move on to our second article. The Bad Batch Season 2 delayed from September release.
We kind of predicted that, didn't we?
We did predict this.
Yeah.
So Disney Plus excluded Bad Batch Season 2 from their September roundup. They kind of publish a list to say what's coming out in September, what's new, what's going on. And it was originally reported... It's crazy, this show in general. Originally, in an issue of Star Wars Insider, it was reported the Bad Batch Season 2 was going to be coming spring 2022.
Yep.
Then it changed to mere coming soon, before being omitted completely. Then the updates at Celebration in late May they seemed really encouraging. We got a good trailer. Then we heard that Season 2 would be coming on September 28th because they had that official Disney Plus banner that said September 28th. A new report with all that information is shooting that down. We have no idea when it's coming out next. I mean, they did post via the Direct the full list of September releases and premieres, and Bad Batch is not on the list. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not coming fall 2022. If Andor got pushed back, it's probably that Bad Batch is getting pushed back as well. I mean, Bad Batch could start up when Andor ends. Andor ends in November.
Late November, yeah.
Which this could then just fill the gap between Andor and Mando Season 3.
Yeah.
Or they could just delay it by a month and have them still going on it simultaneously. I mean, we do know we're still supposed to be getting Tales of the Jedi as well.
But those are kind of small little things, but yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be 6 episodes. You're blinking, it'll be done.
Too, yeah. Yeah, I mean, one thing that's interesting is we don't know how many episodes Bad Batch Season 2 is going to be. Now, first season was 13, if I'm remembering right, 13 or 12.
I don't recall.
And so, is that going to be about the same? Is it going to be more? Is it going to be less? I mean, if it's 13 episodes and you kind of want it to fill the gap between Andor and Mandalorian, well, that's actually too many episodes. You're going to have to overlap it with one or the other or both, which is what they seem to have been doing already. I don't know. Interesting.
Very interesting.
And we have very little actual, concrete, news or info about this series. No idea the episode count, no idea. I mean, we know it takes place a few years after the first season, that, Omega has grown up a little bit, and they got some new uniforms, so we can get some new action figures, or armor, I should say. I mean, come on, I'm just being honest here.
I know.
I'm okay with it, but...
Let's just move on to the last article today. It's more of a fun piece.
Yeah, that was a downer. I've been looking forward to Bad Batch Season 2. I liked the first season.
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni want George Lucas to cameo in The Mandalorian. Third season's, of course, coming in February, and there's no word on what cameos to expect yet. But Favreau and Filoni have some dream casting ideas. They did an interview with Entertainment Weekly where they revealed that they would love to have George Lucas appear in one of their shows. He says, "I tell you, we've been pretty lucky," Favreau explained. "Fortunate," Filoni added. "We have everyone from Hamill to Werner Herzog." And then one of them chimed in that they definitely want George. They want George Lucas. That would be the best cameo. And Filoni suggested he'd have to be the son of Baron Papanoida or something like that.
Yes, who he played in Revenge of the Sith, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't really play. I mean, he just kind of...
So he'd have to be his son, yeah.
Yeah.
And Favreau says, he's been on set when Dave's directing, so I love watching Dave and George together. Why not do a cameo? That'd be great.
They would do it if they asked him, right? I mean, if
Does he
Dave
have to get
Filoni-
permission from the Disney powers?
I mean, yeah,
that
maybe
be?
Disney wouldn't even. Maybe Disney would be like, no, let's not do that.
He's actually just in he's actually been in a lot of episodes, just in his stormtrooper outfits, and no one knows. And Disney doesn't know.
I think people would notice him in the stormtrooper outfit. He's not exactly fit and trim. He would
What if
kind
he's
of
just
stick out a
standing
little.
there somewhere?
Yeah, I guess he'd be in the background somewhere, just getting the headshot more or less.
Maybe Favreau let him wear the heavy armor suit and stand in for one episode.
Maybe.
You know, one of the early episodes of season 1 where he didn't do much talking, just kind of stood around. He played Paz.
Paz, yeah. I mean, Paz is a bigger dude. Voiced by Favreau, of course.
Probably played by Favreau too.
I doubt it.
Come on, Favreau's in the suit.
I don't know.
Don't ruin my illusions. It's him.
highly. I mean, possibly. The body shapes kind of look
He might not have done the
similar.
fighting, but he might have been in the
Yeah,
suit.
he may have put on the suit.
You're weird.
I know.
This is all I can stand of you today.
All right, well, then that's all we got for you this time. So take to the comments below, tell us what you think of today's news, and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.